Drug addiction has been a serious problem over the past 20 years, especially with the opioids. And many of you that have been following me online with these stories, you know better than anyone else. Well, this is a report that came out in the Salon October 6, 2019, that's blaming the DEA for keeping the opioid plague going in the country. And you know what? I would have to say the government have to be in on this. It has gone on for way too long. How could you not blame them? Especially at this point, 20 years later. And that stuff is still coming into the country legally and illegally. And it's still being dispensed by these doctors. They're giving all these scripts out. So a chilling report reveals how the DEA inflamed the opioid plague. The DEA can't justify why it authorized a 400% plus increase in oxycodone production from 2002 to 2013. Wow. Even as fatal opioid overdoses surged dramatically across the country, the DEA authorized large increases in the production of painkillers, the Justice Department Inspector General said in a scathing report Tuesday. The watchdog office described the DEA that was slow to respond to the opioid plague, which has been more than 400,000 lives that have taken over 400,000 lives over the past 20 years, which they're lowballing that number, y'all. I'm not kidding. I really believe that number is at least well over 1 million. They're not going to tell the truth, but I do. I think over the last 20 years, it's over 1 million people dead on these drugs. But, in this country, they're going to keep lying and lying and lying on all of this data at all costs. All right, y'all, I'm sipping on my tea. My throat is a little scratchy today. We found that the rate of opioid overdose deaths in the United States grew on average by 8% per year from 1999 to 2013, and by 71% per year from 2013 through 2017, the report said. Yet, from 2003 through 2013, DEA was authorizing manufacturing to produce substantially larger amounts of opioids. The DEA, the arm of the Justice Department, is the federal agency that most directly oversees and regulates the production, distribution, and administration of opioids. It sets annual quotas for narcotic manufactured in the United States and investigates the illegal sales of prescription drugs. Michael E. Horowitz, the Inspector General, noted the agency authorized a greater than 400% increase in oxycodone production between 2002 and 2013, despite evidence that opioids were being overprescribed and frequently misused. If that's the case, why is the DEA even necessary? Seriously, if they're not making a difference in getting rid of these drugs and getting rid of all of the addiction in the country, then what good are they? Seriously, I'm just asking, what good are they? It was not until 2017 that the DEA significantly reduced the amount of oxycodone produced by 25%. The report said in 2018, the agency further reduced the production quota for oxycodone by 6%. Wow. Horowitz also found the DEA did not adequately vet doctors, pharmacists, dentists, and other individuals before issuing them a license to prescribe narcotics, instead relying on them to voluntarily disclose relevant information, including past criminal activity. Some of the agency's field division staff expressed concern about the lack of background checks. Wow. So they were giving these license to prescribe and didn't even do background checks on any of these doctors, pharmacists, veterinarians, dentists, and even nurse practitioners. They didn't do a background check. Wow. Y'all, they background check us for some of the most remedial things. But they're giving out narcotics and they gave them a license to prescribe and didn't check their backgrounds. That is some jacked up mess right there. Do you know, I had a hangout last month and I had came across, well, I knew this information actually from a long time ago. There's a lot of these doctors that come over here from India and Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen, and they're not doctors. What they do is they buy their credentials and then they come over here to America and practice. And many of them go below the radar. They don't check these people out like you think. They don't check them out as well as you think. And here you got a government agency that handed these license out to prescribe and didn't check any backgrounds on these people. One diversion program manager told the inspector general that if a pharmacy owned by a corporation is sold to another corporation, the new company could bypass the pre-registration process and assume the previous company's license. As a result, the new company could order as many narcotics as it desires without obtaining a license. Wow. Wow. You see how easy they make it? And no matter how you look at it, it's still legal, but it shouldn't be. Notably, the DEA allows healthcare providers and drug manufacturers who have had their licenses revoked or suspended to apply to have it reinstated as soon as one day after a surrender. Oh, so they all lax with their licensing, huh? Though the agency diversion investigator is required to probe those who reapply for registration authorized. Authority was reinstated in some cases simply because the agency's field division was worn out. So too tired to check everything, lazy. In one case, a doctor who had prior violations and had his license revoked moved to a state that was under the authority of a different DEA field division. After relocating, he immediately reapplied for registration and was approved. Wow, y'all, this is some crazy mess. The DEA also restored the registration of a dentist who had voluntarily surrendered his medical license and DEA registration on two separate actions. The doctor had a 25-year history of substance abuse. And see, that's what I'm talking about. I did a story on how doctors and nurses are in these emergency rooms all hyped up on these opioids and tested positively for marijuana and allegedly bought a firearm from an undercover police officer after having been convicted of a felony. And this is a doctor that did this. During the course of an unrelated investigation, the doctor allegedly purchased cocaine and heroin. Furthermore, the DEA rarely used its strongest enforcement tool, immediate suspension orders, IOS, between 2010 and 2017, a time when opioid-related deaths increased rapidly. The agency authorized more orders, which allowed investigators to instantly suspend an individual's DEA registration in 2012 than it did between 2013 and 2017. Horowitz noted the poor working relationship between field offices that sought to use IOSs and the agency's legal team which moved too slow to approve the orders, hindered investigations. One office called the relationship toxic. Well, that just go to show you this is just one more example of a very poorly ran government agency. That's all. We're all too familiar with this. Seriously, we are. There are so many badly ran agencies in this country, it's not even funny. For years, these people try to put on airs like they got everything together. The more you look, the more you will realize they can't run nothing. They literally cannot run nothing. But they keep pounding in our head that nobody can lead better than them. And you can see it's nothing but a big lie, just a big lie. As an example, in 2015, field officers requested the DEA's legal office issue an IOS against a 62-year-old California doctor who officers believe was having sex with 3 patients, all of whom were addicts between the ages of 20 and 25 in exchange for prescribing opioids. The agency's legal team called the allegations of improper prescribing deeply troubling, but said the case file lacked essential evidence needed to proceed forward. So they let him stay out there with the license. Oh my goodness. Field officers then referred the case to the Office of the U.S. Attorneys, which later indicted the doctor. The doctor reportedly pled guilty and is serving a 30-month prison sentence. Do you see how, now let me just ask y'all, what is the difference between a doctor overprescribing drugs or somebody selling drugs illegally? You see how he gets a much lesser sentence? If you were dealing, let's say, out on the street, you would get longer than some damn 30 months. Okay, I'm surprised they didn't. And the way they got everything set up now, I'm surprised they didn't offer him rehab and let him get out the whole thing. They do that too. Horowitz said the agency has been taking steps to improve cooperation. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the DEA sucks. It sucks. It's another bad agency here in the US. That's what it is. It's another bad agency that can't control these opioids no more than any other agency. If you got a DEA, which is in charge of giving out license to people to prescribe, you would think they were more on top of their game. This is living proof right here that they are not. Sorry, y'all, somebody came to the door. This is living proof that these folks are not on top of their game. And no wonder why drugs and opioid deaths and everything has gone on as long as it has. It has never been resolved, and you can see despite Trump's claim that he's made everything better, nothing is better at all. Nothing at all. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this story. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.